this is the brand new Hercules forced rotation dual action polisher available at your local Harbor Freight. Now this is a new release coming in at $119.99, but is that a good value compared to the competition? Does it work well and get the job done that you need it to do? How long is it gonna last? Now obviously I don't know how long it's gonna last. I just got this thing, I've been using it, and I gotta tell you, I'm very, very impressed with the build quality, the effectiveness of the polisher, and how smooth it is. So before we get any deeper into this, I wanna talk to you guys about forced rotation and exactly what that is if you're not sure. So I have 3 different machines in front of me. The first one is going to be a rotary machine. Basically what that does, it is geared on a spindle, and as you can see here, and listen, it is geared all the way through. So when you pull that trigger, that thing's gonna start moving. There's not gonna be any give to it. It does generate a lot of heat, but it does a fantastic job of correcting paint very, very fast. However, with the rotary, if you're not perfectly trained on it, you're definitely gonna create a lot of heat, which can potentially burn through your paint. Basically, it just heats up the panel so much that you burn through that top layer of paint, and then you're showing primer or straight down to the bare metal. So you always want to be very, very careful with that. And another thing is you can very, very easily introduce holograms and swirl marks. Because this is geared and just spins like a drill, right? Just a perfect circle, you're generating a lot of heat, and if you're working over the panel, you go a little bit heavier in one section than the other, you're creating slight uneven surfaces in the clear coat, and that's what's gonna give you all those holograms. Now from there, I'm gonna go skip over this one and we're gonna go to the traditional dual action polisher. This is what I use 99% of the time. This one is from MaxShine. This is the 15mm throw. This is my go-to polisher if I'm using a corded polisher in this situation. If I'm using a battery powered, I go with the Milwaukee or the DeWalt. With MaxShine, I have a deal with them. If you guys wanna go on to their website, I'll link it down in the description. Use code I'mJoshV15. It'll get you 15% off their site. But what this does is, as you can see, it is geared also in a rotation, and that is how far it's gonna go. So this is a 15mm rotation, and then also it's free spinning. And what that does is it allows you to pull the trigger and it's gonna start going, but if you get on too much pressure onto the panel or onto a hard edge, it's basically gonna stop the rotation and it's just gonna do this little shake. And that's gonna reduce the heat, significantly reduce the chance of burning through your paint. And because of this oscillating movement, it enables you to get a nice, perfect, swirl-free, hologram-free finish. Now, traditional dual action polisher comes in different sizes. You can get 8mm throws, 15mm throws, 21mm throws, all that kind of stuff. 15's my go-to, it's right in the middle there. The only downside of these is, like I said, if you come to a portion of a bend in a panel, sometimes this will bog down and you're not getting the same correction that you normally would. And that is where the forced rotation polisher comes in. You get the same movements as you do with a dual action polisher where it's spinning and oscillating and just kind of doing this whole like S pattern basically, except it is geared all the way through. You can hear, geared all the way through, similar to a rotary. So once again, the forced rotation is kind of a mix between the rotary and the traditional dual action polisher. You're getting that power directly through the polisher onto the paintwork, so you're getting nice consistent coverage and not having to worry about it when it bogs down on a harder corner. This isn't gonna do that, but you're also getting the added benefit of the dual action movement, which is gonna, again, reduce heat on the panel and give you a nice swirl-free, hologram-free finish. Now in the world of forced rotation, Flex is probably the most well-known brand. I think they were the original ones that actually came out with this. This is the Flex XC3401 VRG. This is the original forced rotation polisher. This Flex machine comes in, you can find them between $420 and $480. I think I paid $470 on Amazon. So when we're talking about that price point versus the $120 at Harbor Freight, which one should you go with? So we're gonna look at some of the details between these two machines, find out what the differences and similarities are, and then I'll give you my final recommendation on which machine you should go with. So right off the bat, we're gonna start with weight. Let's go ahead and throw the Hercules onto the scale. And as you can see, this thing comes in at 6 pounds, 3.3 ounces. Now, you have to be a little, I did my best, the weight of the cord is there as well, but it's gonna be right around that. Now the Flex comes in just slightly under that at 6 pounds and 0.9 ounces. Now both of these machines offer 3,200 to 9,600 oscillations or orbits per minute. They both have soft start and variable speed triggers, meaning when you first turn it on, it's gonna ramp up the speed slowly so you're not overly exposing yourself and flinging product everywhere. And then once it's at full speed, you can kind of dial the trigger in back and forth to raise and lower the oscillations per minute. Both have a trigger lock right on the side here. Now on the Flex, the variable speed control dial is on the side, which is very, very comfortable when you're using it. Really, really nice. On the Hercules, slightly different. It's right here on the back. Pretty much equally as comfortable though, not a problem at all for me. As you can see, you can feel and hear the texture here. Let's see here. So you can feel and hear the movement there versus on the Flex. You can also, but the Flex is night and day smoother when you're adjusting that. It's very, very smooth. Is that a big problem? For me personally, no. I just usually leave it at full speed and then use the variable speed trigger to control my speed. Both machines also have a removable handle head up top here, which is nice. A spindle lock, so if you need to change out your backing plate here, you can just push this down and then you can get a wrench on that and get it to release. Otherwise, if you try and just release this thing's just gonna spin. So having that spindle lock is very important. The Hercules has it as well. Now, both these machines are gonna have that same 8mm orbit or offset to the size of the rotation. And the Hercules says it is a 6-inch backing plate versus the Flex says 5.5 inch. But as you can see here, they are exactly the same size. So I think they just mean, I think with the Hercules, it's the same 5.5. It's just that it's made for a 6-inch backing or a 6-inch pad or 6.5-inch pad. Now with Flex, you can change these out. They do make smaller ones, so you can go to a 5-inch or 5.5-inch pad. And I did open this up and check, and yes, these are compatible. So you could, if you want a smaller backing plate on the Hercules machine, you can order the one from Flex and put it on. The Hercules says it has an 8-amp motor, and the Flex comes in, actually it says right on here, it says 10.9 amps, but I've also seen 1100 watts online, so right around that 9 to 10 amps or so for the Flex, so it is a more powerful machine. Now let's go ahead and look at the overall design of these two machines. Again, they're very, very similar, but the Flex definitely does have a little bit more of a compact footprint, but there are some features of the Hercules that I like more. So right off the bat, guys, as you can see here, I'm just gonna kind of scroll over the top here. The Flex machine is shorter, slightly narrower, and then as far as height goes, slightly, I mean, we're really trying to pick this apart. Pretty much the same height, but I guess this would be slightly lower. This has a little bit more of a oblong size, so it's a little bit taller than it is wide, versus the Hercules feels more just round all the way around. We did touch on the variable speed dial here on the side versus on the back, but as you can see here on the Flex, there's no soft points on the back of the machine. Typically, you're gonna be storing this thing like that while you're working, and this is definitely going to get all scratched up, versus the Hercules has these nice rubberized pieces here. It's gonna sit on those. You're not gonna scratch up the whole body of this machine. Additionally, the Hercules has this nice rubberized texture for the handle, as well as up here on the head. It's just a harder plastic, so really it's just the backing piece here, and then the handle that are rubberized. The Flex is just a hard plastic all the way throughout, so slightly more slippery, but I've never had an issue with a polisher slipping out of my hand. So it's nice that they add the grips, but I don't think it's that big of a deal that this doesn't have it. And one more really important thing to note, these are not brushless motors. These are not brushless polishers. So with the Flex, there is a carbon brush inside here. That's usually the first thing that'll go bad on these polishers. They just get a little bit dirty. You need to replace them every once in a while. It's internal. The Hercules, the access points are right here. You just get a little screwdriver, back that out. The brush, carbon brush is right there. Put a new one in and you're good to go. So the fact that they made that so accessible is awesome. Okay guys, so now let's go ahead and pop these things open. They are different sizes of a tool, but whatever, not a big deal. Let's go ahead and take this one off. I already loosened these up, so that's why I'm not using the spindle lock in the back. Let's go ahead and pop this off. So here is the backing plate, the underside of the backing plate. You can see all the teeth there. Everything looks really good, as well as the inserts on the machine itself. This is as far as I'm gonna take this thing apart. You could back all this stuff up and look at everything else as well, but for me, I'm just doing this part. I don't wanna go dive too deep into it, but let's go ahead and remove the Hercules now. And again, don't need to use that spindle lock because I already loosened it up. So here is the backing plate on the Hercules. As you can see, very, very, very similar. Same amount of teeth, I think. At least I lined it up and they all line up, so that's all good. The Hercules does seem to have more grease on it. Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. But both these machines run very, very smooth. And once again, just so you can see, they are the exact same size. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Hercules backing plate and put it onto the Flex, just so you guys can see and confirm. It fits, nice and tight, nice and snug. You just take this, tighten it down now. And same thing here, the Flex onto the Hercules machine, just line it up on the spindle. There we go, plop it down, and there we are. So completely compatible, and you can change them out as needed. Now when we look at the internals, again, one of the things that I'm noting is that the Hercules does seem to have more grease buildup on it versus the Flex. Good or bad, I don't know. The access points here are just standard, a Phillips head, versus here it looks like a Torx. Everything else though looks to be pretty similar. Now this is black versus this looks to be stainless. Does that make a difference? I have no idea. Feels very smooth. This feels very, very smooth on the Hercules. Definitely not as smooth. This part is, but this part doesn't seem to be as smooth, but still very smooth. Now, the power cord length on the Hercules machine is incredible. It's 25 feet long, so you can pretty much almost plug it into your wall if you're in your garage and work around the whole car and not even have to use an extension cord. So that's nice. The Flex, however, you can actually get in two variants. This one is the 10-foot cord, and it's actually slightly less than that. So 9.5 feet or something like that. And then they also do have a 25-foot variant as well. So just depending on which one you get, it could be equal. It could have the 25-foot cord as well. This one, on the other hand, just has a 10-foot cord. Is that a big deal to me? No. Personally, I kind of like the shorter cord better. I'm pretty much always working mobile, and I need more than 25 feet. So I'm always running to an extension cord anyways. And I like the fact that I can ball this up and have this nice and small versus this one's just huge leftover piece of cord. So again, it's just total preference, but no benefit to either really. Now as far as using these machines, Flex is known to make very, very premium tools, and this thing runs smooth. It feels very, very good when you're working with it. Now again, it's a forced rotation machine, so it's not as smooth as a regular dual action polisher, right? You can't just kind of one-hand it and just let it do its thing. Because it's forced rotation, it's gonna wanna walk on you a little bit, but again, the benefit of that is you're able to really deliver precise, consistent pressure and correcting ability on panels where a dual action might bog down. Now I used the Hercules machine on a detail recently, and I don't know, I'd be picking hairs here to try and say which one's smoother. I mean, this was smooth enough, I didn't have any issue with it. If I was doing a long 5-hour, 10-hour correction or something like that, this may get more vibration, but I really didn't, it felt smooth to me. It felt really, really good. So I don't have any concern with that. And with that said, guys, which one of these machines should you get? Well, personally, I'm always in the boat of going with value. Again, I use the Max Shine polishers when a lot of the guys use Rupes polishers. Rupes polishers are fantastic. They're great machines, but they're very expensive, and the Max Shine ones are considerably less expensive and still get the job done and work really, really well. So I tend to lean that way. In this situation, I would say if you're a professional and you're doing lots of paint corrections, just spend the extra money. You're gonna get your use out of the Flex. For all you DIYers, or if you're starting your own detailing business, you don't have a ton of capital to get going, go with the Hercules, forced rotation, man. This thing works fantastic, 120 bucks. You could basically get 4 of these for the price of 1 of these. Now, I'm sure the internals of the Flex are probably better, right? Just, again, they're a reputable brand that's been around for a long time. Hercules is just one of the lines that Harbor Freight carries. I don't know. As far as the internals go, I don't know, but I did use it on a complete detail. It did not get overly hot, didn't smell burny or anything like that. It worked flawlessly. So again, if you're the guy that wants the best machine and you're looking at forced rotation, I would go with the Flex, or Rupes has one as well. I would go that route. If you're someone that's trying to save the money, you're not polishing your car all the time, or if you're just starting your business and need to get going, go with the Hercules. Maybe spring for the extra warranty from Harbor Freight. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys. But again, yes, you can swap out the pads. If you want to reduce the size of the pad or backing plate on the Hercules, you can using the Flex machine because it's the same platform in the back. So that's it, guys. I hope that helps you kind of figure out your decision. I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention because brand new at Harbor Freight, and I think it's a fantastic value. It's a good machine, especially for 120 bucks. It pairs well with the Bauer polishing pads that they have at Harbor Freight. So you can just pick up that stuff there and get to work. But anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope that video helps you guys. Please make sure to like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, and we will see you on the next one.